We begin with the unending twist and turn in the story of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the issues that landed her in serious trouble with the leadership of the Nigerian Senate, leading to her being suspended for 6 months. The suspension has continued to generate public reactions, with many bordering on the legal, ethical, and governance implications, sometimes drawing comparison with similar incidents in the past where the judiciary had ruled that the Senate lacked the authority to suspend a member beyond 14 days. Now, a classical example is the case of former Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omo Agege, in 2018. Many have also questioned the rush with which the Senate Ethics Committee completed the investigation, describing it as seemingly predetermined. Now, the committee had initially fixed Tuesday, 11th of March for hearing, only to be abruptly rescheduled. We now hear that at least 13 members of the Ethics Committee did not sign the suspension report as a result of the lack of due process. But of course, the President of the Senate has gone ahead to defend himself after receiving an award for being a champion for women's rights. And he says he remains gender-friendly and wouldn't want to do anything against the female gender. Well, to help us understand the issues, we have joining us in the studio former member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Agbonayinma. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And also joining us is the Executive Director of the Authority newspaper, Chuks Akunna. Thank you so much and welcome to the program. All right, gentlemen, let's start from you, Honorable. I mean, you're a former member of the Federal Parliament. Talk to us about what the best practices are on these matters when it comes to the Ethics Committee. I mean, you share similar practices in both chambers of the National Assembly. What's usually the best practices like in this circumstance?
Well, thank you, my brother Sambo, and to our viewers watching. You see, at the time, I just said to myself, I wanted to turn down appearing on this program today for reason that both family are very dear to me, and what can I say? But beyond that, even though I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a lawmaker, not a lawbreaker. In law, you see, he who alleges must prove beyond reasonable doubt. And the burden of proof on this subject matter rests on the distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Because the standing rules of the Senate is similar to that of the House of Reps. That the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator, and each senator can only speak from the seat allocated to them. Whether it's a matter of privileges, once you have refused to speak from the seat allocated to you, because that's standing rules of the Senate, you signed, and every senator are obliged to adhere to the rule of the Senate, just like in the House. You must. Once upon a time, I almost got suspended because of the fact that I didn't support the impeachment of the former Vice President, Osibanjo. But I'm happy that the then Speaker, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, and majority of the House of Assembly then stood by me. And at the end of the day, even when I wanted to speak at the time, the seat that wasn't allocated to me, I went to visit one of my colleagues. I was lobbying him to support my motion. And I raised up my hand. The speaker said, no, I cannot speak from where I am. I should go back to my seat if I want to.
All right.
So the issue we are talking about today, one thing happened, which of course is the issue of where you're supposed to sit.
Yeah.
Now, it now goes beyond where we are hearing accusation or alleged harassment. Now, where do we start from here? When you have violated the standing order of the Senate rules.
All right.
It's a very delicate, sensitive issue because both parties are dear to me. And these are family. Both family are both friends.
Well, this is no longer a family matter. I mean, it's in the public. Chooks, yes. Let's talk about the issues at stake. I mean, she was suspended based on the initial sitting issue, not based on alleged sexual harassment. I mean, she reintroduced that on Thursday, but it was kicked out, saying that it didn't follow proper procedure and all of that. Yes. So what's been your view? I mean,
no, I think to begin with, order, they say, is the first law in heaven. And I'm aware that no senator or lawmaker comes to the assembly with his chair, with his furniture. You have the furniture already fixed. And when I also read about other other parliaments all over the world, you see that even in America you have a sitting map. You have where the presiding officers sit. You have where those in opposition sit, like that. We have what they call principal officers for the party in majority and minority. So that's the way it's arranged. So I didn't see any big deal in, hey, you can't talk from where you sit here, move to your seat and talk. I mean, something as easy as that, and look at where it has led us. And then that said, we also shouldn't lose focus of the fact that Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and her husband and Senate President Godswill Akpabio, they've been very long-standing friends, predating this crisis. And I understand that it was based on that relationship that someone like Senator Natasha Akpoti, being a greenhorn, a first-timer and a member of the opposition party, was given the privilege of chairing the committee on
local content.
But it's still hell, they say, had no fury than a woman scorned. And then from the issue of sitting arrangement, not. And then let's cast our minds back to last year, because you see, we all can or should draw inference from what has happened in the past. When she also breached the Senate rule, and Senate President Akpabio said that this is not a nightclub. Apparently Senate President overreached himself when he made that comment, but he's human. And he also became larger when he apologized. He openly apologized. He said, okay, I'm sorry for this. He didn't grandstand. He apologized to Natasha Akpoti, meaning that he's somebody who understands that he can be fallible. And,
but that was after a public uproar, especially social media. And they said his wife's phone was ringing,
but the fact that he admitted that he was sorry.
Yeah.
It's not, we all err. But to also, when you say I'm sorry, some people feel that when you say I'm sorry, it makes you weaker. But when you wrong somebody and you say I'm sorry, it's a virtue which most political leaders in this part of the world lack. So so having said that, I don't think Akpabio is somebody who, I can't speak for him, but I don't think. But if he could apologize at that time, it means he moved on. And then, but from what I gathered, it's like that was the turning point in the relationship between the Akpabios and the Akpoti.
All right, gentlemen, let's talk about the issues of the chairmanship of the local content committee. I mean, Senator Natasha started having this breakback mostly when she was removed. And one of her colleagues, Senator Peter Nwebonyi, is actually saying that, look, why didn't she allege this sexual harassment since she was removed? It was since when it happened. It is only when she was removed from the chairmanship of the local content and taken to the chairmanship of the diaspora committee, that she now started making a challenge out of it, making life hell for Akpabio too. And Senator Karimi, who comes from Kogi State, who also said that he was the one who lobbied the Senate President for her to get the local content. And of course, the Senate President has the right to actually reshuffle the chairmanship. I mean, talk to us about the best practices when it comes to committee chairmanship, and if the Senate President could have done something wrong just by removing her and taking her to another committee.
Like I've said earlier, that he or she who alleges must prove beyond reasonable doubt. You know, I'll say this without fear of favor, that the burden of proof rests upon distinguished Senator Natasha on this very serious...
And you think she has enough proof? I mean, because she claims to have it.
Well,
she says it's documented. And she's asking the DSS to intervene.
See, let me tell you this. You know, I am pained. It hurts me as a husband, as a father, because this issue right now, every home is a topic of discussion. You know, where somebody that have been friends for years, even during the wedding, you know, the Senate President was there. Prior before they are married, Senate President and Chief Emmanuel Odua had been brothers, senior brothers, younger brothers, family members, all this time. And here you come. I have always admired distinguished Senator, Natasha Akpoti Odua.
Well, you had better clarify your own admiration.
No. See,
before it gets to something else.
No, listen. My question is that because for a woman to have been able to get contesting, is, what it takes to aspire to campaign vigorously, and she won the Senate. And becoming a senator is not an easy job. I'll tell you that. At least I've had opportunity to work closely with other House of Rep members, like Right Honorable Nena Okeje, Linda, who is a minister now. And Nena Okeje was, I would say, beautiful woman, nice, but she comforted herself. We all worked together as family. So if you look at what is the trend, we have distinguished Senator, Daisy Danjuma, distinguished Senator Itagiwa, and the later distinguished Senator Okon. They have been there. This is my first time, at least as a member from a member House of Reps. I've never experienced, talking about harassment. Because when we're in the committee, we discuss issues, issue-based, something that will reflect the concerns of all Nigerians. Not about, talking about harassment now. The fact remains, for me, now, when all these years, nothing happened. And when I watched on Arise, when she was speaking about, I visited the Senate President during his birthday, because they all shared the same birthday together, that in Akwa Ibom, that he was herself and the husband, that the Senate President took both of them, showed them around, and the husband was walking behind her and the Senate President, and the Senate President was saying, when we have time, we'll have time to come back here and have fun and all that. And she looked back. All this time, you never told your husband. You didn't tell any of your colleagues at the Senate. You never did. Now, because you are removed from as being the chairman of local content, and by the way, it's the prerogative of the Senate President. He can choose to, put you on this committee. Today, he can choose to remove you based on facts. Now, it is not an issue that it is compulsory, it's mandatory that you must be. So it was the Senate President that gave you. And they have always shown that is a common, leadership quality, working together all these years. But for me to now see, well, I am not there, I am not holding brief for anyone, but the truth is only the truth that shall set us free. Because it's sad today, making a mockery, because that institution is an institution that no man or woman should destroy the institution, because look, the institution is bigger than me or anybody else.
Yeah, generally. So, Chooks, what's the furore over this issue of committee chairmanship and all of that?
I guess,
shouldn't there have been a reason why he removed her as the chairman of the local content committee?
No.
Could it have been justifiable? Can it be linked remotely with any of these things that she's actually saying?
No. I cover the National Assembly, and we all know that the Senate President remains the chairman of the National Assembly, even though you have You know, our system is slightly different from that of the U.S. You know, in the U.S., the vice president is the Senate president, but here we have Senate president and we have a Speaker of the House. But then it's in the Senate president remains the chairman, and he's the chairman of the selection committee. His deputy is the deputy chairman of the selection committee. That's a very special, that's the most powerful committee, because they are at liberty to, I mean, there are no hard and fast rules about how they appoint. It's like telling an IG or state or the DGDSS who to send to what state. He's in charge, and he determines who gets what, when, and how. So it's the same way. Okay, you local content, and then you removed. You know, it's not. Are there no other human beings who can actually manage local content? You know, not all the 108 senators can actually head grade A committees. You understand? Because it boils down to the issue of patronage. You know, those who see committees as treaty. There was this former governor who said when he was a member of the Senate, you know, Bukola Saraki gave him deputy chairman of an obscure committee. It's within, you know, a former governor. You know,
yeah.
You know, it's within the rights. You know, it's at his discretion. You know, he done that. So, like I said, even when Senator Natasha Akpoti got that appointment as chairman of local content committee, there were those who raised eyebrows, who felt that as a first-timer and as a member of the opposition party, you know, she shouldn't have gotten that committee. But it was within the rights of the Senate president to appoint her at the time. And it was also...
could it be that he assessed and found her maybe not to have done so well? Because she's also claiming that there's the AKK gas pipeline project that passes through her senatorial district, and that her chairmanship of that committee and it could help her to actually monitor what was going on and all of that. But her removal now has deprived her of knowing how that project is working.
Excuse me. You see, that pipeline did not come from Okene. You know, it didn't come down from heavens. You know, it passes through other communities too, and I'm sure those other communities, they've got senators representing them and House of Reps members. You see, but you know, when a relationship breaks down, you know things go awry, and then people can come up with all sorts of allegations. Like as my brother said, the former rep. You know, I wonder if you are the worst womanizer in this world, you know, you chose an occasion to actually woo a woman. You know, it's when she comes to your house with her husband. You know, you had all the time with her in Abuja. Then you told her that, you know, she should find time to come and that to make you happy. You know, all those issues, you know. But the bottom line is that, you know, there are more serious issues for Nigerians to talk about. But, you know, we're a country that love gossip, you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, and there's a woman involved in this.
And let's not forget, too, that whatever happens, you know, Akpabio will leave the seat someday, and he'll go to embassies. We saw what happened when the chief of defense staff spoke about going to travel abroad, and he was denied visa. You know, these are some of the issues, because abroad, these issues are not taken lightly. You can imagine that Akpabio finishes his term as Senate president and goes to one of these Western countries to apply for visa, and they say no, on account that you've sexually abused, harassed a woman. You know, these are some of the issues. So, and I'm sure Senator Akpoti understands that. It might not have carried that much weight in Nigeria, but it might have international implications for Senator Akpoti.
All right, because there were those allegations that she said that until she's returned to that local content committee, that she will raise the allegation against the president of the Senate. But, Honorable, just in addition to what you're going to say, why is Akpabio's name always been linked to these women? I mean, because there's Joy Nunye, who was former NDDC, head of NDDC, also raising the same thing against Senator Akpabio.
I thought you were going to ask me, why is it that the dismissed Senator Natasha Akpoti have always alleged different men of the same that is alleging
so both parties now, why is it that there are always allegations made against...
You see, let me tell you,
people.
You know, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to have an, you know, I don't want to be biased, okay? I want to be straightforward and be truthful about what I think, what I know. I am not there, I'm not inside their heart, inside their mind. But this is appalling. You know, the person that I'm feeling paid for mostly, I won't lie to you, is my brother, Chief Emmanuel Doha, because the man is a complete...
That's the husband.
The husband, a complete gentleman. You've never heard anything negative about him ever since.
Well, there was another report that came some time ago, allegations between her before she became senator, and people are pushing all those things on social media, trying to castigate him. But you would have seen that his statement came out clearly, and as a husband, tried to actually stand beside his wife.
So what do you expect from him? What do you want him to do? They have to, stand. He cannot just throw the baby and the bad
Well,
water.
Akpabio's wife is also standing by her husband.
But all I'm saying is this: beyond talking about it on the social media and all that, I think this is a family that have been together for a very, very long time. They have worked together and they've supported each other. If you go to Chief Emmanuel Oduahan's house, you will see a big frame of both himself and the Senate president in his house. These are family.
Are you sure that frame has not been removed
well,
now?
But the question is that, we shouldn't just, just draw our minds, it is right. And I'm happy. My wife also, she's a woman. My daughter, my children, I have children also. And I'm looking at this. This could happen to anybody. It has, just to destroy one's family.
But
hold on, let me finish.
That's why I was asking you that why Senator Akpabio always? This is the second
don't say why Senator Akpabio always.
Public
why you say
officer, a woman
why?
asking.
Anybody can accuse anybody, but until proven, because he or she who alleges must prove beyond reasonable doubt. It's good to allege. I am saying, why is it that she did not? 2 years ago, you didn't tell your husband. Even at the time she said she called you, you were in your bed. You never told your husband. You never told any of your colleagues in the Senate. All the women, the female senators, none of them none of them were aware. Hold on. You are removed from the local content, chairmanship. Now, not only that, because again, you said you have privileges. You wanted to move and a rule that is order of the Senate, that is order 10. Depriving you from speaking where you were seated. Knowing fully the seat allocated to you, no senator or House of Rep member can speak from a seat that is not allocated to them. That is the rule. So you must obey that rule. Anything outside that, you are on your own. So let's talk about what happened at the Senate. What happened at the Senate is what brought us to where we are now. So we must deal with the issue. When you're talking about the Ethics Committee, you spoke about that. Were they upright? I am saying they have done what they were supposed to do.
Even when she didn't appear before them.
She was invited.
And there are some other people who are saying, and I also want you to talk about that, that some members of the Ethics Committee did not sign that report, about 13 of them. But the chairman of the committee, Neda Imaswe, is saying that, look, it's not in all times. You have like over 20-something persons in that committee, and that they went on different duties, they were doing other functions. No,
exactly.
Is that justifiable?
No, that's why you have a committee. You have leadership of a committee. It's not a voting issue. It's not an issue of voting. People, like I said, I cover the National Assembly. Have a committee, and then the issue is that how many of them are coming out to say that they stand with Senator Natasha.
And that's the
no senator.
Nobody.
Almost 108 107 other senators.
And then look at Senator the Senate leader. You heard what he said, that he was nearly blackmailed to by the same Senator Natasha, that he called her, as a brother, as a sister, to say, okay, this, and then she ends up saying that he threatened to pull her down if she decides to if she goes ahead with her threat to bring the Senate president down. So these are some of the issues you also have to, juxtapose with the current issues. Like the issue at stake is sitting. I mean, what's something as simple as, seated, which is easier, sitting in your seat or all the problems we're going through?
I will try to wrap up this conversation. Let's talk about the issue of the Senate losing legally when senators that have previously been challenged have been suspended. Challenge their suspension in the courts, like Omo Agege in 2018.
No, so very quickly, I can tell you this for free. Sometimes, when they got orders from high courts and the Senate did not challenge, did not appeal. So sometimes, when there's something called war of attrition, a lot of water will have passed through the bridge. We saw, I think yesterday, the Women Minister of Women Affairs is actually, intervene. And I'm sure a lot of Nigerians, women Nigerians are intervening, to say, okay, let's not continue on this path. So whenever you get a court order and then the other party does not appeal, it's not that you won. It's because, it's not been tested. It's not been, I'll give us an example. When Peter Obi was denied the right to contest, he lost at both the trial court and the Court of Appeal until he went to Supreme Court. Imagine if he had stopped at the Court of Appeal. I've assumed that was a portion of the law. But nobody has ever gone to court to maybe because of want of time or whatever, or maybe just felt that exactly, to test that. So the issue that saying that because the court ruled in favor of the senators cannot be said to be conclusive. We can't run away with that as a conclusion.
If I may say, we had our First Lady, former distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
was a senator.
Senator Remi Tinubu. She was a senator at that same Senate.
Yeah,
now
she had a challenge too. With
she had challenge, but she was able to comfort herself and carry herself without any blemish. We've had almost a day, the youngest lady in the house. Never. I'm not saying that. I'm not holding breath. Maybe it has happened or it didn't happen. Until proven guilty, you are innocent. So I'm saying this issue, we shouldn't hit it because the way we are hitting on the table when there are other important issues bordering on the Nigerian people.
Well, some say it's very important because the Senate has not shown leadership, especially under Akpabio, and some have gone to the extreme to ask him to resign. But he said yesterday, that he's a gender-friendly parliamentarian. He was awarded gender-friendly governor and all of that. Some women actually gave him an award.
Did you see? Have you seen the past relationship where greeting each other, holding the husband himself, other senator, female senator, all of them coming together.
That's when the going was good.
So okay, what has happened now? Look, this is, I just want to say that this is unfair. Right. It's unfair to the Senate. It's unfair to the family. It's unfair to Nigerians.
Yeah, as we try to wrap up this conversation, what should Nigerians be expecting next? Because, now she's been suspended and people are saying that this matter should not just die down. That should go on to the courts and the courts should be allowed to do their job. Others are asking her to withdraw the suit, like you heard. The Minister of Women Affairs is intervening, and people are saying that, look, there's a better way to resolve this. And some senators are saying that they will go meet the husband, and also meet Akpabio and handle it. In a nutshell, do you think there's a backroom channel that can resolve this?
I foresee a political solution to this because it's an ill wind that's not blowing anybody any good.
All right. As a matter of fact, somebody told me, today as I was coming here, he said, EJ, I believe this is politically motivated. I said, I don't know. It could be
against Akpabio.
Yes, that's somebody told me today. I said, I don't know. It says politically motivated because yes, it could be true. It could not. Well, it might not be.
It's left for Akpabio to play the politics of the Senate because previously you would have seen that the banana peel keeps going around within the Senate, and it's left for him to defend the seat. But gentlemen, what are the best practices for relations between both genders in Parliament? So that future senators, whether male or female, can know. Because people are beginning to say that looks like Natasha did not go through proper induction, having been brought into the Parliament because of court judgment. Yes, and she herself said because she came through court judgment, it looks like they just pushed them one side. Do we need to introduce a rigorous induction process?
I think you've been in the House. I think it's a general thing. They do it before it's an induction, not just for legislators, even for those in the executive. Like if you become a governor, before your wife, they teach her things like etiquette, protocol. How to sit, how to eat in public, these things. So I don't think there's any special provision for those who become midstream.
That's through the courts.
Through the courts.
If I may say, when we were, sworn in, before we were even sworn in, we went for an induction. It kind of helps you to tell you how to, perform, how to work, to maintain decorum. There are so many things. That is even the area of knowing, the rules and the standing rules of the House. So, when we came to the House, we were sworn in. We make the same rules by ourselves, and we signed, and we are not be told this. Since we have signed, we are obliged. We must obey the rule, the order of the House. The same thing applicable to the Senate. If majority, whether she was not around or not, and there's an order, the rule, the standing rule of the Senate. So you are duty bound to obey.
Yeah, because sorry to just interject very quickly, gentlemen, before we go. We saw the senator actually coming to submit a petition by herself, and the rules of the Senate says that, look, you don't submit a petition that you write, you submit a petition from your constituent or others. So, and that's where people are saying that, look, it looks like there was no proper induction. She didn't really understand the rules of the House. But of course, she also understands some part of the rules.
Listen to me.
That's why she kept on hammering on order 10, order 10,
I believe that she would have, learned, because it's a learning process. All of us came into the House. We have to go through the tuning age, learning the process. By now, I should have believed that she probably would have been able to have learned that these are the area you shouldn't venture into. Like when she was speaking, after the Senate president have hit the gavel, once the gavel has, dropped, you don't need to say much. You have to obey. That is it. If there's no law guiding, that it'd be a lawless environment.
Please, and of course, and it's a
so
law-making
we all need to obey the simple law. These are the things we are teaching our children. If we cannot obey the simple rules, simple law, then we expect our children to obey the instruction we are giving them at home. I think it goes beyond just talking about it. But I'm saying my appeal is this, that both parties, have to look for a way to come together.
A political solution. All right. Thank you so much.
I'm not talking about political solution. I'm talking about family solution.
Oh, well, it begins from there. Yeah,
there could be political solution.
We must thank you so much for joining us. He's a federal lawmaker, former member of the House of Representatives. And of course, Chuks Akunna is the executive director of the Authority newspapers. But gentlemen, this actually brings to the fore the need for federal lawmakers to also make use of their legislative aids to do research for them, help them out, because that's why you have at least 5 legislative aids attached to each lawmaker. And of course, most senators end up bringing their brothers, sisters, cousins, and all of that. So these people don't research for them, because these are little things for them to easily learn. We must thank you so much, gentlemen,
Please,
for
let
your
me say
wealth
this.
of wisdom.
Happy Women's Day.
International Women's
Day. Happy International Women's Day, because I have a wife at home. I also have children at home.
To all the women, we love you all.
And distinguished Senator Natasha, happy International Women's Day.
Well, I'm very sure next time they both see each other, the issue would have been resolved. We must thank you so much for being here.